Hey guys, it's Raging Demons RPG coming back at you one last time in regards to the Rifts character builder. Sorry it's been a couple of days, but yeah, it's just, life happens, right? We've all been there. And yeah, today is Mother's Day, so big shout out to any moms out there, or any big fans of moms, and not those kind of fans, although all the power to you. Uh, Yeah, today's kind of a somber day. I don't want to get off on too much of a personal tangent, but a couple years back, I lost my mother. She complications from emergency surgery. So, you know, so Mother's Day is kind of hit or miss. I'm finding these past couple of years since 2009, late April actually of 2009. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that it doesn't have to necessarily be your mom. Just if any got anybody that's like maybe that person in your life that means a lot, just kind of take the time out and just show them that you actually, they are that person to you. And if they're at your table, I mean even better. Although I couldn't imagine my mom sitting down and playing along with me, though she never, ever, ever judged. So it was pretty cool growing up, gotta say. All right, so moving right along, we are at the final stage. For those who are just coming in here, we're at the final stages of character creation. What was flashing in front of you was, of course, the CS grunt I'm building, the frontline soldier of the Coalition States of America in the post-apocalyptic, futuristic world of Rifts, the RPG. Now, as opposed to Rift, the MMORPG, uh, similar name. Now there's probably going to be a little bit of confusion among certain circles. But anyway, the last bit we were covering was basically we've gone through skills, stats, and I just needed equipment. Grunts, believe it or not, are actually pretty easy. Although I am a little bit surprised. The Ultimate Edition was a big rewrite. They include examples of the new style armor for the Coalition. However, yeah, let me just go ahead and flash that for you again. So we got the traditional set, and on the side, think of it like clone trooper armor. That would be the one all in black, and then the one that's a little bit more sleek and stylish and still skeletal would be like the transition into the stormtrooper type armor. What I was surprised to find in the Ultimate Edition is that they still, as a company, Palladium, is a smart move business-wise, but it's a little for me, is that they make it so that way the armor, the new style armor, is still not available in the main book. You've got to purchase the World Book 11, which is the Coalition War Campaign, or you'll have to get the Game Master's Guide, because I found it in there. My suggestion, if you're not, Coalition War Campaign is 11 books into the World Book side of things, and that's not the only supplements they have for this game. So, and they all do kind of run somewhat linear, especially when it comes to North American supplements. So, my best guess for the bang for your buck, maybe go get the Game Master's Guide. There's a lot of resources in there that you can use, and then for those little holes you need to fill, like OCCs to play, that sort of thing. That would be more something you get the world books for. Okay, but yeah, the reason why I raised such a question mark about that is because I actually wanted to have my character having the new style armor, but apparently I'm gonna have to stick with the old style, which is fine. There's just some little design differences. aesthetic. It's more of an aesthetic thing than anything else. So, but the equipment was really easy to do because they don't give you a lot. Okay, but in regards to the armor, what I've done, it's by hit location in this system. So what I did was, as you can kind of see there, right around here is where I put my armor. Now so I've separated it by head, arms, legs, and the main body is what they state. But when it comes to things that have multiples like arms and legs, I write down the number twice. I know there's two of them, but it's better to keep track. And then next to each fixed number, I would put brackets like I've done here, so that way you can keep track of each piece's damage that's been taken. Some things that are like area effect, blast radius, these are things that are going to affect the armor as a whole. So, but things are a little bit more precise. I mean, there is aimed shots in this game. You can blow somebody's arm off if you wanted to, and it's best to keep track of that. And also, just like when you're for the purposes of like, I mean, I'm part of an organized military. They're just gonna take care of my damage. They'll bring everything back into base. But as a mercenary team, you're gonna have to be responsible for a lot of that yourself, and your armor can get a little hodgepodge with all the little piecemeal repairs you've had to make. So it's good to know which pieces are like original, which pieces are not, and just kind of keep track. Getting on to the equipment. So that's how I kind of arrange things for MVC. Now, equipment, they give you quite a few things. They give you weapons, and they give you some standard equipment. I separate weapons from the standard equipment because there's a lot of, well, see, you don't want to have to go muddling through your character sheet to find your weapons come combat time. I mean, if you've committed the damages and the ranges and the amount of ammo you have to memory, all the power to you, because that's a lot of memorization I feel would be completely unnecessary when you've got a perfectly good piece of paper sitting in front of you. So, when it comes to weapons, I decided to go with just basically standard issue. I didn't want to stray too far from, what's the norm in the coalition's, in the coalition's equipment, because like I said, I basically didn't want to portray myself as a mercenary just yet. I like being straight out of the box, no different than any other grunt running around, because of the simple fact that, because the simple fact is, that's just where I want to start off. I want the Game Master to start me off somewhere involved in the coalition, whether I'm in one of the less fortunate neighborhoods that surround one of their megacities or something. I don't want to already jump the gun as far as my character's story is concerned. I know where I want to take him. I know he wants to get out of the coalition military. Mainly because, I mean, based on the kind of skills I've taken and the kind of stats I rolled, which led to the skills I take. So really, it comes down to the stats that I rolled. Created the basis for my character, the DNA. He never really had a good time, and he's maybe become disillusioned like some have. Now, another thing you have to understand about your average grunt is that they don't have much in the way, like they're pretty impoverished themselves. I mean, they're citizens, which is nice. They're taken care of, but at the same time, they're not exactly living the good life. Let me just go ahead and pictorialize something here for you. That solid one-piece sleek armor that I wanted. This is in the alignment section actually, but the piece art depicts the removable faceplate. You see that little visor these got flipped up there? Well, when I had the war campaign book, and I intend to again, I was reading, I read it quite heavily because it was one of my favorite books. Now, it states that those visors actually do all the reading for the grunt because an average citizen of the coalition states is illiterate, completely and totally illiterate. They can speak a language, but they cannot read or write it. And they do this, of course, as a suppression of knowledge. I mean, there's such a class in Rift's Earth called a rogue scholar, and that is somebody who has contraband items such as books and things. I mean, seriously, contraband would be like one of these gaming books, like stuff that's not even taken seriously. They take it very seriously in the coalition. It can even be punishable by death, depending on the book. Basically, because the emperor himself, the current emperor, Emperor Prosic, Karl Prosic, his father Joseph Prosic was the founder of. He was the Lenin to Karl Prosic's Stalin, and I mean it says right in the Coalition War Campaign that Karl Prosic, for his senior thesis at the Academy, wrote something on Adolf Hitler. I mean, there definitely is a lot of that fascist suppression of knowledge that's followed through. Nazi book burnings are very much a part of coalition life. So you can imagine as a soldier, as this grunt, who wasn't even very strong, so I haven't been really acknowledged for anything. I'm underappreciated. I can't even so much as read. I mean, I took Card Sharp because it's easier to play cards than it is to read a book. I mean, some of the skills I have are very technical, but of course, with the visor doing all the reading for you, it'd be easy if you were taught orally how to do everything. But so I don't know, just life. Can you imagine life without reading? It it would suck pretty much. And if you're already disillusioned and you're the weak guy, and maybe you're not recognized for what talents you think you have, and like yeah, my character wants the hell out of there. So I didn't want to jump the gun though, so we're gonna start out pretty much straight up. So what it gives you in the character write-up for the standard equipment for a grunt is, of course, the body armor, standard issue, which is let's say light to low medium make a damage armor. And also, special note, it gives you a 5% penalty on anything like acrobatics or anything that involves high mobility. It has good mobility, but not high. But given the protection it provides and the fact that you can experience any environment short of space without, dying, that's kind of nice. Now it gives you the armor, an energy rifle, an energy sidearm of choice, 4 extra clips for those. They call them E-clips, just energy clips. 2 fragmentation grenades, 3 signal flares, survival knife, utility belts, air filter and gas mask. You see where this is going. It's pretty standard if you walkie-talkie, your uniform, your boots, and an additional non-energy weapon of choice. So, well, starting off with the weapons I chose. I only chose the 2. Non-energy weapons, for me, are not that essential for my character. He's not so combat-oriented. And he probably lost it in a game of cards. So, for the pistol, I chose the standard issue C18 laser pistol shown at the top there. It's a bit antiquated looking by today's artistic standards. But, I mean, and the newer stuff in the Coalition War Campaign is very, very Desert Eagle. In fact, the new C20, which is the replacement for this laser pistol, is very much like Lawgiverish. That's the way it looks. Lawgiver in the Stallone movie, as opposed to this, which is Lawgiver in actual UK comic book. And I also took for the rifle the C12 Heavy Assault Laser Rifle. Now, why would I take a Heavy Assault Laser Rifle? I just finished telling you that my character is not very combat oriented. Well, he took heavy and mega damage weapons, which are turret mounted, that sort of thing, as a specialty. But he can't really lift a lot of the bigger ones. But he can handle this. And the reason why I chose it, because it gives a lot of versatility. It's got a fairly decent scope on it, so you get a nice precise shot. Also, it has 3 variable settings, three rates of fire, which gives it a lot of options in a combat scenario. And not the kind of options like big boom, bigger boom, and even bigger boom. It just gives me versatility. So also sometimes when you see somebody who's got a PC sign flashing above their head, you might not want to use the mega damage weapon on their head. Just saying. Even though you know you should, you don't want that player to have to re-roll a character. Unless your GM's really cutthroat, and then just pull the trigger and go for it. The reason why I chose it, it's got 3 rates of fire. It does 2d6 mega damage for a solitary shot. Burst, it does 6d6 mega damage, which is quite impressive, but bursts are wild and unpredictable. And lastly, it's got a third setting, which switches it down from MDC to SDC, 6d6. So that way, things like hunting, in a post-apocalyptic world, or if I wanted to shoot the guy in the leg, it just makes a hole in his leg, like if I shot him with a 9mm, instead of, oh damn, I just blew off the lower half of his whole leg. In fact, I've completely just vaporized it. I mean, it's a laser. It's going to create a big old hole about that big, nice and clean. It's not a Klingon disruptor where it just disappears, but it's going to leave a nice big old hole about that big, and you're hemorrhaging out of that, or even if the wound is instantly cauterized, you're still in bad shape. But if you lower it down to the SDC, it's going to leave a much smaller hole. It's going to be less damaging than the laser. Let's just leave it at that. So I wanted to have that sort of variability. Now, and then moving on to the equipment, it gives you a lot of, like I listed a lot of the standy stuff it gives you. And there's another thing that GMs need to pay attention to when you're running these kind of characters. There's a section called Equipment Available Upon Assignment. Listen to those words, listen to them well. This does not mean the player character gets this stuff from the get-go. This is the stuff that I would be issued by my commanding officer should I need it. I'm trained in tanks and APCs, but they're not going to give me a tank to roll around in for giggles. I can ask the game master had I been assigned with one of those, and they can decline, or they can accept, depending on how they want to run the game. But it's not like it's a privilege, not a right, for me to have this equipment. So you don't even have to write any of that stuff down. You just have to make your game master aware that there's some stuff that I can get should the need arise. And that actually might work into the way in which they'll have to introduce you into the player character group. So, and then finally, it gives you part of the equipment. I counted this equipment is the money, and according to this, remember I'm still enlisted, so I get 1,700 credits a month, and it says I start with 1 month's pay. And of course, I get additional things such as lodging, food, clothing, and all the amenities. And my life and my quarters are very much like a dorm room. It's nothing fabulous, but hey, compared to the harsh wasteland that some of the people still on Earth have to endure, swarming with monsters and all sorts of nastiness, it's Shangri-La. So, and finally, cybernetics. Now, cybernetics is huge in this game. Palladium has a long history with the cyberpunk genre. Of course, they claim that they are one of the first cyberpunk games ever, but I'm pretty sure that would have been the Steve Jackson games. Well, I'm thinking there's actually one more out of the United Kingdom, which I'm not ringing a bell. But according to this, I don't get any to start, though it does say that they are used as prosthetics and what have you. So, hey, there's ideas for a game master. And trust me, in this game, no matter the mega damage on your armor, high, low, or medium, you will lose a limb, and you will have to, you'll have to get something replaced. So, now, I keep mentioning these coalition megacities. These fantastic, marvelous places carved out of the wastelands in North America. Now they have a nice panoramic art view of one. I believe this isn't the capital. I believe this is the one in Michigan called, I believe it's the CS State of Ironheart, which is in Michigan. And I'm just going to get a flash that for you. Now, I want you to bear in mind that the transport flying above in the skyline is approximately, let me go ahead and just double check, I believe it's 20 some odd feet in height, but I could be wrong. I don't believe I am though. Just to give you sort of scale, because quite frankly, it's pretty immense what they've done with their time. Or with their time and resources, given the fact that the world basically went back to zero during the cataclysm that started the whole, well, basically the whole setting that this game is based on. Okay. I believe I was perhaps thinking that the stats were in the Polish War campaign, which I don't have. So, but yeah, let's, for the sake of argument, it's about 20 feet in height, and I'm going to close out with that. Just going to play some more of Warbringer's Combat Shock in the background for you. I've had the pleasure of interviewing these gentlemen about 3 times myself in my personal life, so I know they provide just the right kind of attitude for those bone-crushing, hard-hitting combat scenes that we all know and love. So I'm going to give you a little panoramic view, but until next time, keep the dice rolling, guys, and we'll see you next time here at Raging Demons.